So the first and foremost is like, there's nothing wrong with you. Kids are a lot. Okay, let's get to Heather's question. It's a great one. What about parenting when it seems like a break is impossible? Yes, I see what you're saying. Like you can't take a break from the kids. Okay, so very real question. And it's not something that's going to be solved like with a light switch. So when you're at the point of breaking with kids, like number one, kids are a lot. Okay. So the first and foremost is like, there's nothing wrong with you. Kids are a lot. They're a lot. Think about it like when we're adults, we have developed, whether it's healthy or not, some of us have healthy ones, some of us don't, but we've developed a way to contain ourselves where we don't emotion throw up on people, for the most part. Kids don't have that barrier. So they're like, if you can imagine their auric field is like 10 feet in all directions. So when they're around you, you're feeling everything they're feeling, and it can be entirely overwhelming, especially if you're a sensitive being and you can feel people, right? Entirely overwhelming. We have our youngest airs towards anxiety. Okay. And every time I'm around her, I'm just like I feel her. So one of the things that I have learned to do, and this is why I say it's not a light switch moment, but it is, you will get there, I promise. One of the things I've learned to do is one, you've got to develop a lifestyle where you're prioritizing your own energy. And that takes it's a shift in the way that you do life. Like it's a shift in the prioritization of you. I'm gonna give you a Cliff's Notes, but there's a lot there. Okay, so that's number one. We're gonna talk about it in a second. In doing that, when you prioritize your own energy, it's like if you were a light bulb and you only had it halfway screwed in, you are only operating with maybe half of your power, half of your strength of energy. When you start prioritizing yourself, it's like screwing the light bulb all the way in. All of a sudden, you're like, you can handle more. That's what prioritizing yourself does. Now, also, you become the stronger energy in the room. So when you're at capacity with your nervous system and your energy, you're not the strongest energy in the room, right? Your kids are definitely beating you. They're winning in terms of stronger energy, right? So you want to prioritize yourself to develop that stronger energy because you want your energy to be the influence. You want to be the dominant energy in the room just by existing. And when you are that way, then they mold to you rather than you molding and crying on the floor. No, rather than you being pushed around by their energy. So that's number one. Number two, when you're in that moment of the I'm gonna lose it, I'm gonna lose it on them, breathing is your best friend. Breathing is your best friend. And it's a practice. I mean, it truly is a practice, but this is why prioritizing yourself first, if you can get up a little bit earlier before the kids get up and just have 10 minutes to yourself, just 10 minutes of meditation, depending on how old the kids are, start communicating with them what you need, communicate, I'm going to go and I'm going to be in my bedroom for 15 minutes. I just need a moment to myself, communicate what you need to them. Because kids understand. I mean, when they're little, obviously they need a lot. But if you start that conversation young, I came into the girls' lives when they were 5 and 6. I always told them, I gotta go. I gotta go be by myself. I'll be back. Right? I would let them know. So prioritizing yourself helps you to begin strengthening that energy. But if in the moment you hit that capacity point, which we all do sometimes, we've all been there, breathing is your best friend. When that comes up over you, where you feel like you're going to lose that, create space between the trigger and the reaction. Meditation helps you with this. Like consistent meditation helps you with this. It helps you to create space between you and your emotions. Space. So in the moment, you just deep in, hold, and let go. 3 times before you say anything to your children. Because breathing relaxes the nervous system. It tells the nervous system there's no threat, because you can't do deep breathing if you're being chased by a lion. You know what I mean? Like, we hear it all the time, but this is the programming we're working with. We're working with like caveman like programming. So when you take those 3 deep breaths, the cortisol in your body drops and you don't hit that stress capacity like that. You bring it back down, you create space. And then from there, you have the capability to respond in a way that's not going to like cause trauma to the kids. You feel me on that? And then it's about, you've got to do a lifestyle change. So there's a lot here. We could do a whole program on this, and you guys probably can feel it coming. There's gonna be a whole program on this. I'm gonna study it some more so I can get the full everything that I want to give you guys. But communication with your partner, communication with your kids, and it's going to sound weird, but communication with yourself is your best friend. Because a lot of times what happens when us as women are at capacity and you have a partner in your life, a lot of times what happens is you're taking on the world because you think you're supposed to, because you think you should, because there's this deep-seated like proving yourself energy, and you're not communicating to your partner what you need. You're not communicating like, I'm at my capacity today. I really need some space for me. Could you do this with the kids? Could you take the kids here? We're not communicating what's going on inside of us. A couple of different reasons for that. One could be like you have a shame-based energy. Don't have time to get into that today, but essentially shame-based energy is like you think something's wrong with you, and so you don't talk about it with people. You don't tell people what's going on with you. You don't tell them what you need because you think something's wrong with you and you need to fix it. As you can imagine, it's a very unhealthy state of being. And the antidote to shame-based energy is to talk about what's going on with you. Talk about what's going on with a trusted person. Don't talk about what's going on with you with a shit person, with a trusted person, and if you're not in a space where you can do it with your partner yet, that's when you really want to look into, therapy or a coach or someone that can guide you to start coming out of that state of being, right? So communication is your best friend. I would argue for anybody who is at that full state of capacity with your nervous system, you're so contracted in, I would build a very strong case that you're not communicating in your life. You're not communicating what's going on. You're not communicating what you need. You feel me on that? Okay. So breathing is your best friend in the meantime, but it is a lifestyle switch that needs to happen that essentially is prioritize you. You got to prioritize you. Again, every time I've lost it on the kids, and there's only been maybe 5, like I can count them on one hand, 5 times that I've lost my shit on the kids. It has always been when I wasn't taking care of myself. I didn't get enough sleep. I was getting sick. I didn't eat properly for the day. I wasn't in my meditation routine, whatever. It's always been when I was not prioritizing myself. And this happens so much with women because as women, we're taught good mothers sacrifice themselves. Good mothers don't prioritize themselves. Good mothers put the kids above everything. And so what we end up having happen is we have moms who are raising their kids from their trauma cycle because they're in a pure survival state. And then you're just passing that coding on to your kids, and it keeps repeating the cycle. The more you prioritize yourself, the better the human you are. And the better the human you are, the more you're going to be able to operate in your day-to-day with ease, with calm, with grace, with the capacity to listen to your kids' nonsense and not get overwhelmed, with the ability to be present I did a program last year called Presence, and it was all on having that capability to shift the priorities of your life. Because if you have so much going on in your life that you feel like you can't stop it for a second to turn and pay attention to what your kid has to say to you, like you're like, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this. That's not a good place to be. It's not a good place to be, right? That's not what you actually want for your life. And your ego mind keeps telling you, if I just push this a little bit further, then I'll be able to relax and be present with my family. That's not what you want. It never arrives you there. So, the more you prioritize your energy, the more that you start to really do that healing work and slow down to where you are your first priority, everyone in your life is going to get the best version of you. And when everyone in your life gets the best version of you, can you imagine life starts really opening up and everyone wants to be around you and you're magnetic and you're feeling good, you're in your feminine, you're like, I love who I am. You're not at that like capacity where you just hate everyone around you and you just want to lock yourself in a room and die. Extremes. Okay, my loves, I loved talking about this today. I'm a little ghoulish. I did have one more thing I wanted to talk about, but it's okay. Maybe we'll do it Friday. Um, Thank you for being here live. Thank you for your questions. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye, guys.